Hello, welcome to Streaky Mastering TV with me, Streaky G, and Shay, who is my assistant at Streaky Mastering.
Indeed.
Today it's Friday, so we thought again we'll do another Q&A. Friday Q&As.
Yep.
So I haven't seen these questions. These are ones from the internet that people have said either asked in the comments or they've sent us an email, so they can try and catch me off guard and see if I'm actually know what I'm talking about or whether I'm just making it up as I go along. And it's usually the second.
Yep, I picked three of the best ones. So first question is...
Hit me.
It's from Rich from Berkshire. He says, I'm a producer and I'm really getting into mastering and post-production. I was thinking of getting some hi-fi speakers as a secondary pair to my studio monitors for referencing. Is this a good idea, or should I just stick with my monitors and what I know?
Yes.
Yes, what? Yes.
Stick with what you know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's good to have a set of hi-fi speakers, but because the main monitors that I use, the full range ones, are essentially really expensive, really nice hi-fi speakers. And I really like them for that reason, because they're not too harsh on the ear. I worked on PMCs, the really massive ones, for years, and I can't listen to them now. They just hurt. They're so hard and they're so bright that I'm not a big fan anymore. And I loved them at the time, obviously. And now I've listened to the B&Ws that I've got, and they're massive. They're a real nice, cosy sound to them. Not as harsh. Really lovely low end. So it's nice to have a set of hi-fi speakers, definitely, that you get used to. But I don't know whether they're really great for... Is it for mastering he's doing, or
well,
for
he says he's getting into mastering and post-production. So we're thinking about what people will generally be listening to.
Well, I think you need... basically, you need a set of full-range speakers so that you can hear the really low stuff and you can hear good clarity in the top end. So I would always say you need a full range. I've got a set of NS10s because I'm old and I've worked on them for years and I'm used to them and they're nice, and I nicked them from when I worked at the factory and I've still got them, and they're the same ones, so they probably sound like crap, but they sound alright to me. And I've got a nice amp running them. That's the main thing, sort of get a nice pairing, a nice amp. So I've got a nice Bryston that powers them, gives a nice low end. They sound alright, and I use those really more for detailing the mids.
Yeah. And
the bigger speakers I use a lot for hearing the low end and pumping up loud, because you can turn the NS10s up quite loud, but you don't get the feel of the low end. So yeah, get some hi-fi speakers in. If they're good quality ones, there's no point in getting cheap ones because they're going to do you no favours at all. But I would be more likely to invest in just one pair of really nice speakers and get used to them and know the detail and a really nice amplifier. So it's nice to have a few references, but it can sometimes get confusing. It's like having loads of outboard. It's like trying to learn loads of different EQs.
Yeah.
Don't bother. Just learn one really well.
Yeah, master
learn one set of speakers really well.
Yeah. So basically,
does that answer it, or was that just waffle?
I was going to. Well.
Yeah, I was going to say it is.
Get a pair of hi-fi speakers, but use your own for the start. Use your own monitors and what you know, and then get a pair of... Don't buy crap ones, basically, yeah?
Yeah, save up, get yourself some really good speakers that you can then keep for, say, 10 years or something and really get into and love and know. But to start off with, it's best to, you're more likely, you're better really to get your room sounding better, because that's going to make your speakers sound better anyway. Because a lot of people will keep changing their speakers where the room's not actually...
That's quite a...
Well, have I just segued into another question?
You have sort of gone into the next question without knowing, which is quite good, don't it? I have just got in... This is from Chris from Manchester, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, I have just got into...
Screensaver.
I've just got into mastering and have mastered a few tracks for some bands around my area. But I'm constantly moving my equipment around my workspace. And I have a friend, stroke engineer, that said that I should keep everything in one place. Does this really make a difference?
So he's moving his kit around all the time.
He's moving his gear around the room all the time.
Oh, it's a nightmare, isn't it?
Well, from my point of view, yes. But I mean, to answer his question,
the thing is, it makes a massive difference. If you're moving you need to keep everything the same all the time. With mastering, especially with mixing and stuff, people bring gear in and out all the time. But with mastering, you want to be able to know your room so well, because it's all about detail mastering. It's all about fine tweaks. It's not about rough ready getting in there and chopping about and like you do with mixing, it's and you're repairing stuff afterwards. Really, mastering is just real detailed, fine tuning. So you want to be in an environment that you know really well, and you want to make sure that nothing moves, because as soon as something moves, it changes the sound of the room and changes the sound of what you know. So then suddenly you might do something that actually doesn't sound that good, and you think it sounds good, but it doesn't, because you're not used to your room again. Yeah,
you're never really in charge of what's going on. It's
not
really
if it's moving all the time. Yeah. You're just like, you haven't got a reference point ever.
Yeah, you're constantly relearning how the room sounds. So everything's the same tune will sound different all the time, I suppose.
Exactly. So try not to move anything, and that goes with equipment. Don't keep changing your equipment every 2 minutes. Sit with one EQ or one compressor for ages and just get to know it and learn it, rather than keep chopping equipment or trying new plugins all the time. You won't get anywhere doing that, because you'll just be playing with the plugin and listening to new plugins, and you won't get any work done. But it depends whether you're doing things, a lot. If you need to turn clients around, you need to do a lot of work, then you want to have a stable environment, because you want to get people in and out, and you want to be able to work quickly on stuff.
And you want to have a continuity with sound as well.
Yeah, big time.
If someone knows your sound, then you keep it that sound rather than changing all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Right, so basically it does make a massive difference, Chris. So
don't touch a thing.
Yeah, leave it where it is. So last question is from Sean from Brighton. He says, "Hello, Streaky and Shay. What I'd like to know is, at what point do you know when the track you are working on is done? How do you know when to stop and commit?"
Well, there you go. When do you know when to stop and commit? That's down to experience, really. That's down to knowing how good you can actually get a mix to sound, and at what point you're just going around in circles. I mean, what happened in the process of mastering. Initially, as soon as you listen to a track, you get a kind of sound that the sound that person's trying to achieve with their mix. Then you're kind of just trying different things to get it in the ballpark of how, in your mind, it should sound. So you know what they're going for. You try and get it to that point, and then that happens quite quickly. And then so that might take, say, 5 or 10 minutes, like a few playthroughs, to get to that stage. But then after that, you might spend, say, half an hour or so just fine tuning. So you're listening through. You'll then do one little tweak, and then you'll listen, and you'll carry on listening, and then you'll do another tweak, and then you'll see how a compressor sits and things like that. So I've forgotten what the start of the question was now. I've waffled on so long.
How do you know when to stop and commit?
I don't. There you go, that's how you know when to stop, when you start waffling. And in the same way, if you're waffling around a track and you're going on and on and on, then stop, because you've gone as far as you can go, because you're going around in circles.
Basically, once you start to feel like you
can't go any further. You can't get it any better. You can't get any better. But there's loads of times where you will go and go and go, and in the end, you're better off just putting everything back to zero again and starting again.
Yeah.
Because you've gone past the point of it sounding good, and you've kind of gone into a no man's land where your brain's just got too into the track, and you don't know where you are anymore. Well, like me a second ago.
Well, there's that phrase with like making music as well. Like, you never finish a song, you abandon it. No, the song's never finished. It's just right. You stop there, because any further, then it's an endless journey, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it can be an endless journey with mastering, but you know that you kind of know when you're done. Really, you know when you've got it to the best of it that it could possibly be. I mean, you might do a few different versions sometimes. I might do that, like if I think to myself, oh, I think I've taken this that far, and then I'll record that one down, and then I'll be listening to it back and then think, oh, actually, it could have done with something. Because sometimes when you stand away from it after you've been entrenched in it for, say, an hour, then you sort of step away, and then you go out and you come back in the room, and suddenly it sounds different, and straight away you go, oh yeah, this should be brighter, so
And then there's like your opinion on what you think the producer, whoever the track or whoever the person that sent it to you what they would be thinking or what they would be wanting compared to what you would want. So a couple of different versions sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to give them options on, look, I went this way. Especially if they're not attending, definitely. So you might say, I thought this, but do you like this? But a lot of the time, I'm more likely to just send them one.
Yeah. The one that you
because if you give them too many options, then you know where you are.
Right. Well, that's all of our questions so far. Thank you for your questions, and
hope that helps. I hope it wasn't too waffly.
It was a little bit waffly, but it was
no
on the line. It's good enough.
Okay. Well, it's Friday, so we're off, and thank you for watching. Please leave your comments. Email Shay at streakymastering.com if you've got any questions, and please subscribe above. Thank you for watching. See you next week.
Have a lovely weekend.